All right, guys, today we're going to talk about how to create true mobility after you're doing a stretch that you can use in your golf swing. Here we go. Hey, what's up, guys? Jeff Palazzaro here at 18 Strong. And in a recent video, which I'll link below in the description, we talked about the importance of stretching and how to actually do a stretch right, and the three big mistakes that people are making when they're trying to kind of improve a sticky spot. We talked a lot about the hamstrings. We're going to go into a couple different spots that we see with a lot of golfers today. But the problem is that even if you get that nice good stretch, if you don't then teach your body how to use that new range of motion, you're really kind of just wasting your time. So think about it this way. When you go out and you have to shovel your driveway, which we have to do a lot here in St. Louis, when it snows, you go and shovel your driveway. How frustrating is it when you come out a couple hours later and it has continued to snow and now all of that work is done? Well, that's how a lot of your stretching routines are going. You're doing all this stretching, you're maybe making a little improvement, but you're missing this one last little piece that's actually going to continue to let you keep that new range of motion. So think of this video as kind of you shoveling your driveway, and then this video is the salt that you're then going to throw down to actually keep that result, to allow you to benefit from the work that you just put in and to allow you to use that for a longer period of time. So the fact of the matter is that when you do your stretch, and we talked to you about holding it longer, breathing, relaxing, and now you've actually improved your range of motion a little bit. But if your brain doesn't know how to now use that new range of motion, it has no memory of the ways to use your muscles to be able to actually use that range of motion, it's kind of useless. So today we're going to teach you how to now enhance that new range of motion by creating some strength, creating some muscle tension, and actually teaching your body that it's strong in this new range of motion. Now, I'm going to go through basically three examples, three quick little examples. One for the hamstrings, one for the external rotation of the shoulder, which is a big one for golf, you know, as we're trying to get into that downswing position. We find that a lot of golfers are tight in their external rotation. And then we're also going to talk about the ankles, because believe it or not, your ankles, the range of motion in your ankles is very important for all of your training, your exercising, even your walking. But we find that a lot of golfers struggle to get what we call dorsiflexion, which is pulling the toes up towards their shins. So we're going to teach you how to really maximize that stretch, which is going to really help you in all of your training. And then the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the three keys to actually make that protocol more effective, the three things that you really need to pay attention to when you're doing these little isometric strengthening exercises. So let's jump into it. For the hamstrings, we talked about how in the last video, how we tend to do like these short little stretches, touching your toes, or people will throw their foot up on this really big high box. You don't have to do that big of a range of motion to get a great stretch in your hamstring. So I'm going to teach you a little trick here today. All you need is like a curb, just something a little bit higher. You're going to keep your knee a little bit flexed, and then if you push your hips back, you're going to feel a nice good stretch there, right? So this could be the position of your stretch. You could hold on to something, you could have a club here. You could do this on a higher box if you want, but this is totally fine. You could also do this in a half kneeling position. We've got another video where we showed me doing this stretch in a half kneeling position. But get in this position, and now let's say you do the 2-minute stretch that we talked about. If you want to reference back to that old video, we talked about the importance of holding it for 2 minutes, breathing. So now let's say that you're past that 2 minutes. Now we're going to do a couple things. I'm going to have you actively try to create some force into the box here. So we're going to kind of turn on the hamstrings. And ultimately the goal here is to be able to flex further over, right? The longer our hamstrings get, the more we can hinge from the hips. So the goal here for the first piece is after your 2 minutes, you're going to do 3 isometric routines. First, we're going to push into the box with our heel, keeping the leg where it is, keeping my chest where it is, digging into the box. So right now I've got all my force digging into the box, and I feel these muscles turned on. You're going to hold that for 10 seconds. After that 10 seconds, you're immediately going to switch. You're going to try to relax the backside, and now I'm going to try to pull my chest as far this way as I can. So kind of my sternum going that way. And so now I've got this big stretch back here, and I'm forcefully trying to close this gap here. I'm going to do that for 10 seconds. And then you're going to reverse it 2 more times. Now I'm going to push in. And then after 10 seconds, I'm going to try to pull again while relaxing the backside. Pull, 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 just like that. And you're going to do that 3 times. After that 3rd time, then I want you to just relax. Stay in this position. You're going to hold that position just for about 20 to 30 seconds. Nice, easy breathing. So what I've done is now I've taught those muscles how to get stronger in that new range of motion. And you'll see I even get a little bit further each time. That's going to teach your brain how to work in that new position. Otherwise, if you've just stretched out a whole lot and your brain has no recollection or no knowledge of how to use your muscles in that position, that can actually be a dangerous position. So, quick note, these are not exercises to be done before you're going to do a heavy lifting day. So if you're doing this, I wouldn't then go do a really heavy deadlift because you're going to get in a spot that you're not used to, and especially with that load, you're not going to be ready for that load. So same thing goes if you're working on the shoulders, not going into a big bench press or something like that. Just know that. For the ankle, we're working on this motion right here, being able to pull your toes up farther. If you can't pull your toes up, it's hard to get into a good deep squat because you see I need this range of motion here to be able to get into that deep squat. If you can't get in a deep squat, you can't do your split squats, you can't do all these different things that really help you to be able to train your legs properly. So a great stretch, and we've all done kind of the standing off the edge of the step, something like this. We've done the leaning back, holding onto a wall, stretching the calves that way. But the best stretch or mobility drill that I've seen and used in order to actually gain usable range of motion at the ankle is what we would call the combat stretch. And you can do this in a couple different positions. You could get on a box like this. This might even be a little bit too high. You could do this on the floor, but basically the goal is you're going to lean in this way and just kind of hold that position. So I'm going to do it up here. And I'm going to lean in. This actually gives me a little bit the ability to put a little bit more weight on this leg. And now I'm working on this range here, right? So as I'm pushing in, I'm just going to hold for that 2 minutes. Now after that 2 minutes is done, very much like our last drill with the hamstrings, we're going to try to close this gap. Now the first thing we're going to do is basically try to push the foot into the ground, almost like I'm pushing down on a gas pedal. So I'm going to push down, that's going to turn on my calf muscles. I'm going to hold that for 10 seconds. Now the next part is to then reverse it. So instead of pushing the foot down, now I'm trying to pull my toes up towards my shin, and I'm trying to push my shin down towards my toes. So all of this musculature is turned on. I can feel it really working really hard. So we'll do that for 10 seconds. Now I hold this new range of motion, and then I'm going to push down again with the toes, with the foot. And now I've got the calf and the backside working again. We'll do that for 10 seconds. And then again, you're going to pull the toes for your next round. And now we're working on closing that angle. So again, 3 rounds of that. And then you're just going to hold. You're going to relax after the 3rd round. And you're going to feel yourself just kind of sinking into that range of motion. Okay? So that's going to help you get the ankles. Again, the ankles are really important for creating a lot of range of motion that's needed for lower body exercises. Okay, let's move over and we're going to do the shoulder real quick and then we'll come back. All right, I know this isn't the greatest view, but what we're going to do is show you how to work on that external range of motion that's so important for getting in that position that you need to get into for your golf swing. I've seen people do the classic doorway stretch, right? And that's fine. That's a good stretch. In fact, that's a good position for you to hold for that 2 minutes. But an even more effective way to do it would be to hold on to the door frame with one arm. So we're going to really concentrate on the right side here. And once you do that 2 minute stretch, you're holding here. Now what I want you to do is push into the wall. So pushing this way. So push like I'm trying to, almost like I'm trying to throw or arm wrestle down. So I'm pushing as hard as I can. Now after the 10 seconds, I'm going to then try to pull. You'll see my arm kind of come off the wall. So we're going to pull for 10 seconds. Now the big key here is taking up the slack of that range of motion. So now I'm going to take my whole body and I'm going to kind of lean forward a little bit. So I take up that extra little range of motion that I just had. And now I'm going to push 10 seconds again. Now I'm going to see if I can come off the wall. I can't come off much more. After 10 seconds again, I'm going to kind of lean forward a little bit more just to take up that slack. I'm going to push again. And then now I'm going to pull back outwards for 10 seconds. And then after that is when you then hold for that last 20 to 30 seconds. So again, pushing in to the wall, then pulling outwards, and then flex the body forward so it then takes up that little slack in the wall. That way you're getting the maximum range of motion that you possibly could. Okay, so now I've given you 3 different kind of stretches that you can use, or 3 different drills that you can use to improve your stretches. One for the hamstrings, one for the shoulder, one for the ankle. And I would suggest that if one of these spots is one of your sticky spots or you have trouble in your limiting your range of motion, put your emphasis on that one. This is a great drill that you can do at the end of a workout day. You could do this on your off days when you're not training. I wouldn't do this right before your training session though. These are great little add-ons, great little supplements to the training programs that are in the 18 Strong platform on our app. You can go to 18strong.com and go for a 7-day free trial, kind of check out the different programs over there. But I do want to let you know there's 3 big components to doing these drills properly that people often miss out on. And so I don't want to leave you hanging and allow you to make those same mistakes. The first one is that when you're doing these, when you're kind of pushing and pulling, I want you to maximize the tension that's in really your whole body. As you're pushing, I want you pushing as hard as you can, safely obviously, so you're going to kind of ramp into that tension, but I want you to build it as strong as you possibly can, because the more muscles you recruit, the more muscle fibers you recruit to help you in that, the stronger it's going to be. Now the second one is once you get into that new range of motion, you want to every time kind of take up the slack of that motion, which we talked about in the shoulder. You want to make sure that every single time as you get a little bit further, you're then holding that position and then you're working from there, because that's the new range you have. Now you're teaching your brain, hey, I've got a little more range, I'm going to get strong here. And then the third one, kind of in the same line of thinking, is once you push really hard, don't regress out of that position. So especially at the very end when you do that last 20 to 30 seconds of just breathing, don't push, and then and come out of it, because then you're kind of losing every little millimeter of stretch that you have. You want to maintain that. And again, those last 20 to 30 seconds are important, because as you're breathing, you might even feel yourself get a little bit more range of motion. So there you have it. That is one of the best ways to actually make real strides on all the work that you're putting in when you're stretching. Once you get that new range of motion, you have to teach your brain that you've got some strength there, that you can use that range of motion. And then that makes it a little bit easier when you're trying to implement this into your golf swing or into other strengthening exercises. And really that's when this all kind of comes to fruition, when you then take this and you have that usable range and then you use it in the intended purpose. All right, thanks for joining us this week, guys. Again, if you need a strength training program for your golf, if you need something to just follow for 8 straight weeks or 4 straight weeks, we've got it all in our 18 Strong app. You can go check it out for free for 7 days. Just go to 18strong.com. You'll see the free trial there. Just sign up for the free trial. You can try out the training programs. Hopefully you're seeing that the way we design our programs are the way we work with all of our clients, all of our golfers, and it's meant to not just get you to swing faster, but to be able to move better, to play better, and to be as strong as possible for your game on and off the course.